I'm pretty sick, and I don't mean sick from like under the weather sick. I'm pretty gutted by that loss. That stung about as much as a baseball game has stung for me over the last 25, 30 years. We'll keep some positivity, though. We'll talk about some things. The series is not over. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. 9-3, the Tigers come back. They defeat the Mariners today in Game 4. The series is even at 2. Head back to Seattle on Friday for game number 5 with the season on the line. As always, you guys and gals can give the video a like. It helps out tremendously. Comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're new or lurking. You know, everything went right for about 4.5 innings. Everything, if you couldn't have dialed it up better for the Mariners. Bryce Miller was good. He threw the ball well. And in a sick way, I almost wish he didn't. Had he just gotten ripped out of the gate and the Mariners lost this game 14-0 and Casey Mize just shut him down for 6-7 innings, I'd probably say, okay, like, you know, we talked about it yesterday. Hey, worst case scenario, you're coming home for game 5. But Bryce was good. The Mariners jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Now, it could have been more. They had bases loaded, nobody out. Should score more runs there. But they were in a position to certainly win this baseball game. And then, I mean, just the floodgates opened like I haven't seen in a long time with this team. I'm sure, as always, because there isn't a game where it's not debated, I'm sure managerial stuff will come up. Again, I'll be honest. I think 2 of your best relievers, Gabe Speier and Edward Pizzardo, have done it all year for you. Didn't get it done. And the offense had some chances to maybe score a few more runs for sure. And I think that's the simplest answer, sometimes the answer. And I think that's it. I trust Gabe Speier. He's been outstanding against lefties. He's been great against righties this year. Came into a spot. I've spent all series praising Gabe Speier, talked about him being probably the most underrated reliever in baseball. And he picked a heck of a time to have his worst outing we've seen in a while. Pizzardo yesterday, tooting my own horn about Pizzardo. And then he has probably his worst game. That slider to Baez. I mean, that's a pitch I may have had a chance to put out of a ballpark. I wouldn't have, but it was that bad. And I think taking Bryce out when he did was fine. The velo was starting to drop. The Tigers were getting some hard contact on him. That Dingler single was hit hard. I don't know what Randy was doing, cutting that off the way he did or the route he took to it. But it got down anyways, and the runs were scoring regardless with how it kept going. And then that little breaking ball to Riley Green. And Green's not have a lot of bombs against lefties, but he's got 2 off Spire this year. And I want to say it's been that same pitch. I could be wrong on that. Maybe the pitch he threw him in July that he hit the home run was different. But, man, just a little cement mixer breaking ball there. And Riley Green just takes advantage. And the floodgates just opened up there beyond belief. And, a tough loss. I'd be lying if I said I'd be lying if I said I felt good. I don't. Internally, it feels like done. I will never lie to you guys and gals. I'm just giving you my honest emotions. It feels done. You got to go back now and face Tarek Skubal. Are you going to beat him 4 times? And again, not that the Mariners necessarily crushed him in game 2, but is that going to happen again? And now who has the momentum? Now momentum can shift by a batter, right? Like, Randy leads off with a home run on Friday and momentum's back for the Mariners. But, the Tigers now come in with the confidence. They come in feeling we've got the Mariners on the ropes. The Mariners are now the ones back. And that's the other thing too. I think you really had the Tigers on the ropes in this game. The crowd energy was low. Part of that probably just being an afternoon playoff game, which is unfortunate for local fans, but it is what it is. And lost my train of thought there, but you had them. You were up 3-0. Like I said, the crowd energy felt really low. You felt close. You felt close to delivering just a dagger to a team that seemed, and I'm sure the Tigers weren't, obviously they didn't give up, but I'm sure they weren't giving up, but a team that just felt beaten, and you let them take it back. And that's why I go back to what I said earlier, where if you just lose that game like 15-16-0, or something like that, where you just get blasted out of the gate, it's easier to shrug off for me. But it feels like you had this one. Now, I mean, I guess better than losing up 3-0 going into the 9th inning and blowing it. But certainly it stings. Zero doubt about that. It would sting a lot less if the Tigers didn't have Skubal, if they were throwing somebody else out there for game 5. And it kind of felt like you were, like I said, you were doing everything right. Like Hinch takes out Casey Mize. I actually thought a little too early of a hook for Mize. Thought Mize threw the ball pretty well. You got to Holton, or in terms of loaded up the base with nobody out. Hinch had to use Finnegan in the 4th inning. Like, it was lining up well for you. Hinch had to go to his high leverage guys early. Bryce was still in there pitching well. You still had your high leverage guys for late, and you're up 3-0. All that. I mean, I don't know if like win probability factors in who's left in a bullpen. I don't think it does. But man, you take all that into account, you'd probably say 85% chance Mariners finish off that game. Let's shift to some positivity, right? Like, and if you want to be negative, maybe the first 5 minutes for you. If you want to be positive, second 5 minutes will be for you. Season is not over. Mariners are coming home. They had to go to Detroit and win a ball game. They were going to play 2. You had to win 1. They did that. Had the Mariners lost last night and won today, none of us would be upset. We'd be going, hey, you're coming home with an opportunity to win this series. That's what the Mariners have. In front of their home fans, a packed house on Friday, they have a chance to advance to the ALCS here. It's still right in front of them what they need to do. It's unfortunate they lost today, but playoff baseball is hard. The Tigers are a good baseball team. They were not just going to roll over for you and let you knock them out. It's frustrating, but you do still have the opportunity. This did not end the Seattle Mariners season this afternoon. You should have some confidence. You have gotten to Skubal. Again, like, you didn't pound him on Sunday, but you have won the games against him. Sometimes it just maybe that little bit of confidence helps them on Friday. You should have George Kirby on normal rest. Kerry Carpenter is going to scare me in that game, but you should have George Kirby on a full arsenal of rest, 5 days rest. I don't know why I said arsenal there. And maybe Castillo to piggyback him if need be. Maybe Logan Gilbert to come out of the bullpen if need be. Got a day off tomorrow. Bullpen should be rested. Tigers pen's going to be rested too, but you're going to have everybody. You can have Spire, Bizzardo bounce back. Munoz will be good to go. Brash will be good to go. You'll have everybody ready to rock and roll for game 5 for a team that plays better at home, for a fan base that is dying to see it happen. It is not over. I said it game 1. I've said it game 2. I said it game 3. Until it's over, I'm not giving up hope. And not only is it not over, you're not down 2-0. Mariners win on Friday. They're in the ALCS. Just have to find a way to win one ball game on Friday. A very difficult ball game to win, but they win that and they advance. So, there is still reason to have tons of hope. Now, internally, if you have none, I get it. I am fighting my own inner monologue here. Trust me, the inner Jay is like gutted right now. Just for anybody, I know sometimes, Jay, you never seem to, throwing stuff and, up in arms or yelling. It's just not me. But trust me, internally it is. It is. But this is baseball. This is playoff baseball. It is the ultimate grind. It is the ultimate war of attrition. And, the 2001 Mariners, right? They came back home. Now they won game 4. They found a way to get it done. It is possible. That day off, I think, is good. Well, maybe not, because you'd probably prefer Skubal 3 days rest versus 4. But I think it's good for the team's headspace to have tomorrow off and regroup a little bit on Friday. So if you take it just as a big picture thing, they went to Detroit and found a way to get a W. I said that after game 2. You got to find a way to win 1. If they didn't do that, season's over. And the season is not over. Listen, I thought Bryce Miller looked pretty good today. Funny enough, 4 1/3, ends up giving up 2 earned runs. But I thought Bryce pitched well. The fastball looked really good, touching 97 pretty consistently, dropped a little bit at the end. The splitter, wasn't great, but he had some good ones in there. I think he got Carpenter to swing and miss at one. And again, it's part of what makes this game so frustrating is that Bryce looked good out there. And it's a shame that, if you get to the ALCS, it might be a very good thing. It might be a very good weapon to have with Bryce Miller, maybe out of the bullpen or depending on Brian Woo's status in the rotation. So that's a positive to take forward. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter anything on Friday because you're not going to see Bryce Miller in that game. But he threw the ball really well today. He deserves some credit. Again, this is going to be a quick video. I'm not going to look at the box score. Actually, you know what? I am for a second because there are a couple of things that I want to look at, because there were some at-bats that really, and it's certainly, I'm going to put more of it on Spire and Bizzardo today. But there were some opportunities here for the Mariners. In the second inning, right, they score on the Dom Canzone single. But right after that, Victor Robles walks, first and second, 2 out. My strikes out JP Crawford. And I'm not taking away, like, obviously the Tigers pitchers are out there trying to get outs too. And it's not saying every time you get runners on, you can just automatically score 3-4 runs. But what that was an opportunity to maybe get it to 2-0 there. We go to the fourth inning, right? Bases loaded, nobody out after some good at-bats. Naylor singles, Gino singles, and then Mitch Garver with a solid walk. I don't know if I love Garver pinch hitting for Canzone that early in the game, to be perfectly honest, but I don't think, just because Luke Raley's been so bad, you just can't play Luke Raley right now. And that's kind of what you're banking on, and you put in Raley for Canzone when the righties come in, but it's just not working. But at the end of the day, too, like, you were down by so much when Raley came up again that I don't think it would have mattered. But Garver walks, bases loaded, nobody out. Robles grounds into the double play. Now, I'll be perfectly honest, at the time, I was kind of like, hey, against Kyle Finnegan, who's really good with Robles and JP, I don't have a ton of faith that you're going to get a bunch of runs there. So, hey, you got one across the board, move on and see what happens. But that was an opportunity to get a couple more runs. JP brings one home in the second. Robles maybe sack fly or something, and you're up 3-0 there instead of 2-0. Every little run can make the difference. In that fifth inning, even Randy singles, Cal singles. You got a runner at first, nobody out. Julio did not play well in his 2 games in Detroit. He did not swing the bat very well. He grounds into a force out. Polanco flies out. I think that's where we kind of just missed a home run down the line, and Naylor grounded out. If Julio, moves the runner over, I'm not saying he should be bunting, but if he finds a way, or Julio gets on, and he was trying to steal a couple times, if he's able to steal and Polanco doesn't foul off the pitches. And again, not blaming Polanco for swinging at those, but all those little things, right? Maybe you get an extra run there, and maybe up 4-0, that game changes, right? Even if the Tigers score 3 or tie it, you're still in an okay state of mind. But as soon as you get down, it becomes a lot tougher. And I think, you had a Detroit team, like I said earlier, pressing a little bit. You had him on the ropes. Bottom line here, you had him on the ropes and you let him off. Now the Mariners kind of do feel like the team on the ropes going into Game 5. Is this team going to press? It's been something we've talked about with them, where it feels like they get into these tight spots and sometimes, try to do too much. Are they going to do that in Game 5? Or are they going to play relaxed baseball, go out there and say, hey, it is what it is. We split at home. We split in Detroit. We're coming back for a 5th game. I don't know. I'd certainly, hope it's the latter. I don't want to play so loose where you're not intense, but I think you guys and gals know what I mean there. Having them play, that kind of dialed in brand of baseball. Hopefully didn't awaken the Tigers offense. It's been very cold the first 3 games. Hopefully this game just didn't awake them and they get hot. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe tomorrow's day off is a good thing. And you just, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but you do kind of have to throw it away. The Mariners win on Friday. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, shouldn't say that completely, because it would have given you some extra rest before the ALCS, but I don't think any of us will be too upset. We'll take the victory and moving on. But you do have to throw it away in the playoffs. It's nothing to dwell on. The team cannot dwell, because if they dwell on it, they will lose on Friday. We can dwell on it a little bit. We're fans. We have a right to dwell on it. But they can't. They've got to go out there and find a way to win Game 5. Oh, real quick, if you're a channel member, let's see who won the contest today. Who had the last hit for the Mariners in this ball game? If you're not a member, you don't care, then no worries. Let's see. The Mariners have a hit. I think it was Naylor. It's going to be Naylor. Did anybody pick Naylor in the contest? I don't know if they did. Let's find out. Here, I'm going into the post. Let's see. Come on. Let's see here. Post. Did we get a Naylor pick? Polanco, Julio, Gino, Cal, and Cal. We did not get a Josh Naylor. So the contest, we'll figure out something, right? I'll figure out something for Game 5. So channel members, don't worry. Someone will win this contest at some point. Even if baseball season ends, I'll find a way to make sure somebody wins this one. That's really all I've got. I guess we can look over the box score a little bit if we want to. Bryce, 4 1/3, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, no walks, 2 Ks. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. And obviously rooting for Bryce, and I'm glad he pitched well, but internally, probably would have felt better had he just gotten rocked a little bit. If the Mariners move on, then no, then it's worth it. Gabe Speier and Bizzardo weren't good. You know what? I'm going to end it there. That's the bottom line. You have two really good relievers that just weren't good enough today. It can be simple. There doesn't have to be. People can write 20-page explanations on why teams lose, and we can look at XWOBAs and WRC pluses, which I do, and FIP and everything. But Gabe Speier and Edward Bizzardo, two guys, been fantastic this year. Were not fantastic today. And with Bryce Miller on the bump, you couldn't afford that. Maybe yesterday with Logan, right, when Caleb Ferguson struggled, not comparing Ferguson to Speier or Bizzardo, but you could afford that a little bit. With Bryce Miller on the bump, you could not afford that in this game. And that's what happened. Hopefully it's better on Friday. Might have a video up tomorrow. I'll get a little more hyped. I'm sure as I get a night's rest and step away from baseball. Again, if I don't respond to, when they win, I'm upbeat. I'm responding to comments and engaging. When they lose, I'm out. I need a break from baseball. I'll probably have a video up tomorrow. We'll get the hype train going a little bit for Game 5 because Mariners are coming home. We need T-Mobile loud and rocking to get this team into the ALCS. So take care, everybody. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, go Mariners. Peace.